Uh, good. Okay.
I love you.
I love you too. Mwah. Okay, we're live. Let's
All
act
right.
straight. All right. Good evening, and welcome to the Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show. Tonight, I have a really great guest. Her background is so extensive, I just don't even know where to start. Penny Rummel. I said it wrong again, didn't I? So, Penny Rummel. Okay, we were just laughing over this. I'm sorry. Let me tell you a little bit about Penny's background. Penny has an amazing background. She served 27 years in the armed forces. She was in the Air Force and the Coast Guard. It tells you how tough this lady was. She retired with 27 years under her belt in 2014. Not only did she retire from the military, she was a advocate for people that were SA in the military. I think it was a command master chief or deputy logistics. You also worked with SA. You were SA counselor for military personnel. You have a bachelor degree in human resources management from the University of Bellevue. That's Nebraska.
Yes, it
Never
is.
heard of. I don't know a lot about Nebraska. And you've been into the Orbs, you've been into Sasquatch, and you've been into just related topics since 2017. And you are also an author of a book that I absolutely love. This book is Orbs, the Energy of Life. And I'm gonna hold it up. Can you see it? And it is on Amazon. The link is actually in the description of the video. This book is absolutely incredible because my husband and I have experienced some orbs in the Uwari National Forest, and they were really, really strange. One of them was a bright white light just come out of nowhere. No street lamps around. We were, literally between two mountains, and he experienced a yellow, soft yellow one. So this come at the perfect time. It's so I gave your bio. I probably slaughtered it. It's extensive. You're also with MUFON. You're the
Right.
section director. I have a friend that just absolutely is really into UFOs. And you're also the ERT team. That is the experience resource team. Can you touch on that before we go into the orbs?
Yes, absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. Thank you too for having me on your show, Victoria. Love you. The
Thank you.
ERT stands for Experience or Resource Team, and MUFON has this team separate from the field investigators. And this team, they get assigned cases where people have had contact with extraterrestrial or different beings from other places and other dimensions. And when we work with these folks, oftentimes it's the first time they're able to share their story because, quite frankly, they have family members or friends that really don't want to hear it or don't know how to handle what the particular experiencer has experienced. So they get themselves in a bind where they're not able to talk through it. So us experiencers on the team are the ones to help them um, work through whatever they need to work through, and we also provide them resources. So if they need regression or hypnosis, or they just want to join with a group or a team and just talk this out with other people face to face or in social media, they can do that. And we provide the resources for them.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding. So let's get to your books. Let's get to when you first discovered orbs. You were actually out in the field.
No, actually, I was out in my backyard. I had set up a
Okay.
cot, and I'll get to why I did all this. I set up a cot with a sleeping bag and a pillow. My destination was to go to a particular author. His name is Matthew Johnson. His property, where his property has Sasquatch that live there. There's a clan that lives there.
Wow.
And so one of his stipulations is that you need to make yourself vulnerable and be out in the open. And so that means sleeping outside on just a cot, sleeping bag, and a pillow. So I thought this may be a challenge for me. So I think I better practice in my own backyard in our wooded area, just to get comfortable with that. So I was setting up my cot, and I thought, I'm going to take a picture and send it to the host and let him know that I'm really practicing, I'm really trying. So I took a photograph of the cot, but it didn't have the woods in the background. I thought, oh, no, no, no. I need to take another photograph with the woods in the background. This second photo, there appeared an orb in that photo, but I didn't see it come in. So I took that photo, and that was the photo I was going to send to the host so that he would know, I'm practicing this. When I sent that second photo to him, it wasn't until the next day that I discovered, because sometimes when I send an email, I don't know why I have this habit. I send it and then I pick it back up and reread it to see if it sounded okay. I don't know why I do that. But attached was the picture. And in the picture, I saw this face, and it was a young juvenile face, Sasquatch face. And I was just gobsmacked. I was just like, my mouth dropped open, like, wow. I think I ran to my husband, take a look at this. This is the photo that I sent to Matthew. And hopefully we're gonna see that photo today. Is that correct, Victoria? We'll be able to see that photo.
I was
But that was my first
trying
vote.
down. Yeah, I was trying to download them, but anyone that knows me knows I can't walk and chew gum. I might can lift the book up and show. Can you see that?
You're gonna have to get a
Yeah.
little bit closer. Not yet.
Oh, bad Vicky. All right, just describe it. Bad
All
Vicky.
right, so let me try. Vicki, let me help you out, okay? Let me see
Oh,
if I can
thank
help
you.
you.
Well, you got college, so that's the cop.
So it's going to
Yeah.
be very, very difficult for the audience to see this, but that is the
Oh,
orb, and that orb actually, this particular Sasquatch wanted his picture taken because he went out of his way, and I'll explain how I know this. He went out of his way to get into frame so he could be in the photo. And the reason that I know this is because when I take photos on my iPad, I get a live mode shot for 1 to 2 seconds so I can see the movement of those orbs and where they're at on the screen. I didn't see them with my own eyes. I didn't see him with my own eyes at all. I only saw him on the screen the very next day after I sent that email. But he was moving around and came right into the frame of the when I took the picture. So I
wow.
find that very interesting that he wanted to be part of that, knowing full well synchronicities that I was headed to the host's property for the very reason to meet with the Sasquatch people. And now he's in orb form. And I learned that from this particular gentleman, Matthew. So to me, it sealed the deal. I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in with orbs. I'll take pictures of you every single day. Every night I'll be out there. And pretty much every night I am out there taking photographs, no matter where I'm at.
I think that's fabulous. That we were discussing before we come live about what you think orbs are and how they're created. And I think in your book you called it was frequency. Did I get that correct?
Yes, frequency. So frequency is energy, right? Everything, we each of us have our own signature of frequency. Each of us are energy, but we're all at a different frequency, right? If you can you kind of get that? We're all energy and we all have our signature of frequency. So it's the same thing with everything. Everything has energy and a frequency associated with it. And that's the same thing with the orbs. It's a vibration. It's a vibration energy that any being, any spirit, any animal that's passed, or any animal or person that can shift into an energy form, such as the Sasquatch, can shift into that orb form to travel.
Wow,
So
that's pretty incredible.
that's how I see it.
You had a, we were talking about your mother and she passed, and later she passed on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, she passed on August 11th,
Mhm.
2011. My first orb photo shot was of the Sasquatch on August 11th, 2022. That's 11 years. 1111, right? It's a number
11,
to
11,
me.
oh, 11, 11. That's supposed to be that's where I got it, that's where I got it mixed up at. But that had significance value to your mother's passing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a total synchronicity moment for me that clicked. And I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for Tom, Tom Cantrell, and myself working on this book together. I putting it all together and having it all in sequential order, I was able to see it. So, I mean, to me, life is all about synchronicities.
I was looking through here, and I mean, there's just orbs everywhere. These are some of the best pictures I have ever seen. Um, Let me get to the.
Thank you very
You
much. Thank you.
you did a good job. I was very
We
excited
owe
to
it to the
get,
orbs.
but I mean, so orbs, Sasquatch, and MUFON, they all just kind of go together to you. They all just kind of have a place and fit like a puzzle. Yeah.
Right. For me, MUFON came into play because of my experience. And if you'd like me to share that experience with your audience, I'd be more than happy to. So I needed to find out some answers, and I also found out the best way to get answers is to get involved and and do the investigations, like MUFON investigating different UFOs, people that have had contact, because I had contact. So I wanted to be with like-minded people. I wanted to understand as best I could about what happened to me during my experience. And so I'll share that experience with you. It was on January, I think it was in January 2020, I experienced being, I don't know how I got there. I feel like I was in my astral body, but I was on board a craft. And while I was on board that craft, I was taken to like this room that was like a maternity room, all white, very, very bright white. It was rounded, and right by the rounded room were these 8 to 10 bassinets that had baby Sasquatch in each of them. And they were beckoning me. They wanted me, the little ones wanted me to come to them. And so I was really told, or it came into my mind that I needed to love and just be with them and care for them. And that's exactly what I did. There was one in particular that kind of kept beckoning me over to him more than the others. So I probably did spend a little more time with him, but I got to hold them, I got to be with them, touch them, and just love on them. And this is the blessing, they gave it back to me tenfold. Like, uh, it's pretty emotional because it's a lot of love. It's a lot of love when the Sasquatch give it to you. It's powerful, and the babies are certainly the same way. They give and emulate love right back to you. So I feel like they probably gave me more than I gave them, but it was beautiful. I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave, but I found myself back in my bed, waking up to my husband looking out our back French door, our back glass French door, up into the sky holding a flashlight. And I walked over to him and I said, "What are you doing?" And he's just looking up, and I look up and I see this amazing cloud, just huge cumulus cloud, really low to the tree line. And all of a sudden these lightning bolts were coming out of it. These about, I don't know how many lightning bolts, they just kept coming out of it. And then we heard 8 to 10 sonic booms coming from that. And then I said something, the silliest thing. I said, "Oh, they're leaving. I'm going back to bed." And I walked back to bed and looked at the clock. It was 2:45. And when I woke up, it was 6, and I had memory of all of it. So I journaled it. I journaled it real quick, like when I got up that morning. And that's
So
my Sasquatch ET story. I
so
wanted
that is,
answers.
yeah, you wanted answers, but I
I
mean,
wanted answers.
you're not just, I mean, you're not like me. I'm just a, ordinary person. I mean, you're educated. You have extensive training. You've served our country to a high honor. So for someone to question your sanity or say that it didn't happen, they're barking up the wrong tree, because you are a very educated person, very solid. You've served our country. Your background is extensive, and it takes a very brave person to come forward and just tell them what they experienced. And I respect you for that, because it is your
Yeah.
story and your experience.
Uh,
And you
well,
use that
thank
to
you.
help people.
That's exactly right. I mean, because that happened to me. There's no way I can judge anybody anymore, because that opened me up, opened my heart, opened my mind, and I realized there's more to this world than what we know, and what I know, and I want to open myself up to it. I want to find out, and the way to do that is by interacting with people, like you said, different experiencers that have experienced things that are really sometimes hard to fathom, but I know them to be true. I know that they're speaking their truth. I can tell.
Yeah. So I mean, the question to me is, when you started your journey, um, you started discovering the energies, the frequencies, the realities of what you're dealing with. And we went back to the orbs, and we were talking about how orbs are energy and their frequency, because that's what people are. And often when people passes, we were talking about this before the show. There was a study I read where when a person expires, when they pass, when they die, they lose a few ounces. Their body drops a few ounces. And their theory was that was their soul leaving the body. Do you think that's connected with the orbs?
I think it's part of it. I think when a human passes, and I wouldn't say they die, because with when we die, our consciousness and our soul somehow connected together, leave and continues on. I I know this because of one, I've seen my mom, I've seen my dad, he's passed, and I've seen my dog that just recently passed as well. I've seen this, so I know we go on. Look at all the near death experience people that have had many different encounters when they have passed, and they actually experience similar to what I have experienced, where they're experiencing different beings, they're experiencing the heavenly realm, they're experiencing their mother and father that have already passed, and they're getting an opportunity to interact with them. We don't die, we just transform and move on to another realm, perhaps. And in this case, many people believe, and I do too, that you do end up going to heaven. And I think there's other realms out there too, other planets out there, other systems that we can go to in that form, that orb. I'm going to call it an orb form in your soul form. You can experience all that because you have your consciousness with you. What is consciousness? Awareness. If you're aware, then you can remember. Why don't we
I,
remember when we come in? You know, why don't we remember? Because we have life lessons to learn.
I agree. When I was a law enforcement officer, I had a near death experience. And
I didn't know
it
that.
was, yes, ma'am, I sure did. I tell people that I was actually talking about it to one of my friends today, and well, it's a different story. But the thing is, you to me, it is energy. It is if your soul, if your spirit and your soul is right. I think there are some of us, because I had a anger problem when I had my near death experience. So I had highs and
Mhm.
lows I when they were fighting over me and trying to save me when I first slipped away. I had the peace I had was not like anything you'll ever find in life.
Mhm.
And then, and I actually looked down and see my body. I mean, and this is fact. I mean, it's fact. But the thing is, when you return, you keep looking
Mhm.
for that measure of peace, and you realize you do not find it here. You find
That's
peace,
right.
but you'll never experience that level to it. And with me, it made me really sad for a really long time.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so
Yep.
the energy thing, we'll talk about that, some other time, or I mean, we may touch base on it tonight.
Right.
It just depends on where this goes. So August 29th, 2023, Titus. Let's talk about that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Our good old boy, 16 years old. He meant the world to both of us, my husband and I. And it was tough to see him struggle. And we realized, and he let us know it was time for him to go. And so we had help be, because we felt it was the most hum,
Amen.
humane
Amen.
way of, mhm, of letting him go. And we were there. We were all there. My granddaughter was there too. By choice, she wanted to be there. Um, and that's when I decided that I would pull my camera out, my iPad, because I take all my orb photos on my iPad, and take some pictures of him as he passes. And I think for me, it was a matter of proving that he's still with us, and he's still with us. He's in that orb form right now, and he comes back. So he was a rainbow orb. He left his body, and he was a rainbow orb, and he stayed right there so that I could get that photograph of him. It was beautiful, and we miss him.
Oh, now you said the rainbow orbs was just pure love.
Just unconditional love. That's what I believe the rainbow orbs are meant to, are the meaning of the rainbow orbs. And it makes good sense to me. The covenant.
Uh, okay. You based your experiences and your feelings of the atmosphere or the energy around you, and you kind of color coded the the meaning of the orbs and the energy they carry, and I find that really intriguing. So the blue is tranquil, peaceful, also protective,
Hmm.
shy. I've actually, honestly, and it's weird how everything connects together. I've had people tell me they saw blue orbs and felt it was angelic or good, but let's get the yellow down there, the warning, the yellow is a warning. Um,
Yeah.
a very, very, and she spoke about this on my show, a very solid, boots to the ground, credible Bigfoot researcher. This lady is almost a doctor now. So she's like you, she has an extensive background. And the reason why I keep bringing the backgrounds up, because people, they talk when you have
Hmm.
open dialogue about something like this, they want to, butt you with the woo crowd or call you, Fruit Loops or fruit.
Yeah.
They do not understand that people are experiencing this have substance to them. They're really incredible, very educated people, very reliable people, incredible in their communities.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I keep going back to that is I want people to realize that your research takes you where you go. Your research takes you where you go, and that's part of communication. So she was in Uwharrie National Forest, and two very large orbs come at her. And the weird thing was they had a face in the orb. Now,
Mm-hmm.
very solid person, and she's seeing this. And if folks want to go back and watch that, it's a Boots on the Ground episode with Kristen Payton. She's wonderful, wonderful. So
Mm-hmm.
once again, even before I picked this up, I've heard this, but you're in Washington State getting this energy to where it felt so powerful that you put it in a book.
Yeah.
Something is going, there's a connection there. Something's going on there. You said the red can be anger or passion.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know the difference between the anger and the passion?
It's what you feel.
Of,
It's what you feel.
okay.
When you see them, it's what you feel.
And this is really what I wanted to read this before I took it down. Let me get this out of the way before I show this page. Jeremiah Sutton. Jeremiah's awesome. He's always putting stuff up there. So he says, McDougall's, I can't say McDougall's experiment popularized the idea that the soul has weight, and specifically it weighs 21 grams. The title of the film, 21 grams, referenced this experiment. You are so right, and that is why I love my chat. So he just kind of confirmed that something leaves the body. I mean, whether you look at it that way or not. But you see that good? No, Penny, you might have to help me
No,
out
ma'am.
again. Okay.
You got it. Are you on you're on the Orbs page?
Yeah, on the Orbs page. So she has a list in the back of this book. Really great book, guys. It's called Orbs, the Energy of Life. I want to make sure I got that right. Look it up on Amazon. She literally spells out her emotions, what she felt, the type of energy that she felt when she was having these experiences. So you did catch the orb when Puppy passed. Yes.
Yeah.
It looked like it was a yellow lab. Is he a yellow lab? That's what he looks like. I can't tell.
Yes, he's a yellow lab. That's right.
Oh, I had a yellow lab. His name was Yellow Dog. I was too lazy to name him. Oh, that's precious. So, how do you feel like? Do you think that Sasquatch uses orbs and energy to go from realm to realm, or let's go into that because that's kind of something I'm up in the air about, but I want to communicate because we've seen the orbs. We've seen
Right.
in heavy areas that there is a coalition. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I think that the Sasquatch people use them in terms of traveling. It's a very quick way to leave. As a matter of fact, there's a YouTube out with Montana hunters. They were out hunting. They were on the road. They took a video of the Sasquatch walking across the road. They had snow on the ground, and that Sasquatch shrunk down, went right into an orb, and flew off. Right there on the video, right there on the YouTube video. And I'll look that up and send it for your audience so they can take a look at that. So I mean, right there, that was just, you could see it with your own eyes. You may have to watch it a couple times to see it because it happens very quickly. But absolutely, I mean, you need to get away quickly, or you just want. For me, I feel that they come to me that way because they know I'm not ready to see them in the physical. They know more than I do, and I think they're more aware. They're very, very much paranormal. They have been seen shape-shifting into other animals. Um, they are able to communicate to us right to our mind in thoughts. They they have all these psychic abilities, and I gotta wonder, and I do wonder, if we don't have those same abilities, and we've just kind of played them down with
Oh,
all the
so,
different programmings in which we go through in our lives, that they just get kind of squashed down, and um, and now it's time for us all to open up to it and practice it. First thing is intuition,
mm.
but yeah, they
um,
travel. They can travel by orb.
I find that amazing. Randall wants to know what a white orb means, and I'll let you explain that and why
Sure.
you feel that way.
Yeah, when we think of white, we think of a purity, peaceful, heavenly. So it's a you could see the angelic coming through with a white orb. It's very peaceful, it's very loving, and if you see one that and you open yourself up to your feelings, you can really feel that angelic feeling. So that's I hope that answered your question, Randall. But the white orbs do mean peace, angelic, love.
Arla. Arla, now you know I always get this name
I
wrong.
love Arla.
Kashima. Kashima. She always corrects me on this. Sorry,
Kashima.
Arla. Okay, I got it right. I, I think Arla, I need a door prize. Kashima said that we humans can change to orbs, but we have forgotten how.
Yep.
So, I mean, it kind of validates when someone passes the, you know, I mean, I find it intriguing that you capture orbs a lot of times at a person when a person passes. And I'm pretty sure if somebody had a camera in that field where I had my near death experience, it was middle of a cotton field because I was thrown out of a vehicle, but mine would probably been red. That was, boy, I had some anger problems back then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's really weird because, and then you go back to you know, what was it, a 21 gram? Jeremiah, yeah, the 21. I should know that. I worked narcotics when I was a deputy, but the 21 grams. I mean, it all coincidental, maybe. You go where your research takes you.
Hmm.
So let's just
May
move
I
on.
add to that, Victoria?
Absolutely.
You go where your research takes you, and that means anyone can take pictures of orbs. That means if that's your passion, that's the whole purpose of the book going together, is to share this with anyone that is passionate or would like to learn how to take pictures of orbs and then have a better understanding of what they're dealing with. That's the whole purpose of the book, is to share with people and let them know that they too can do the same thing. Because the truth is, those orbs are all around us. You can shut the lights out in your home tonight, Victoria, and start taking pictures with your flash on. You'll be surprised what you see. You'll be
Oh,
absolutely surprised because our families that have passed on come back to us. And sometimes they come back to us in that orb form, and they're there. And I'm not talking just one or two layers back as far as generations. This is all of your people. All of your people will come to visit you through your bloodlines, through
uh,
our
yeah.
interaction. So everybody can take pictures of orbs. They're in our home and they're outside. And you can do it with your iPhone.
I don't have the picture because this was in the 90s, which tells you how old I am, 1990s. We were the officers that worked Christmas, we would go in the dispatch office and we would exchange gifts. And back then you just had the cameras and you had to send the film off to get it
Yeah.
developed. Yeah, I'm aging myself. Um, and they took a photo of me. I had a horse named Pip, and somebody brought me a bridle for him. And I was holding it up, posed for the picture, and I was like, geez. And when the picture was developed, I mean, there was like just this. bluish smoke just circling. It wasn't cigarette smoke. I mean, it was just thick and it just circled my head. I should have known then to go get baptized or something. I don't know. But what I learned later is our PD. We used to have a jail back there. And back in the 70s, people committed suicide when they were in the holding cell.
Mm.
And it was, so I'm like, it was behind me. But, but once again, that's energy. And it showed up on photo. It showed up in a photograph. I didn't see it, but you could feel it. I mean, we would be dispatching at night. Like dispatcher would go take a break. I'd sit down. It's a small town. I'm not going to cause too much. Well, there's that one time. Anyway, I'm not going to cause too much chaos in town, but you would be sitting there and you would hear just something down the hall just slap the floor, and you'd be like, if he don't come back and take over this dispatch. I mean, it was crazy. I literally worked at a haunted police station.
Yeah, that there are spirits that get trapped. It's important to call people in that know how to help a spirit pass through to the light. But absolutely, there's spirits that get trapped. Little kids get trapped because they think they're still alive and they're still looking for their parents. It's very important to call someone in to help them.
Yeah, well, this was a bluish white, really thick haze, or like a smoke stream. It just, I mean, it was weird. So maybe they were good, and they're just trying to keep us straight because we needed it. Randall Broadus said we had white orbs on a deer camera the day before. We heard the extreme loud howl and long howl or holler. Be Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Possibly.
you got a, yeah, I mean, once again, orb Sasquatch energy. You go where your research takes you. And he also says he has a 14-year-old yellow lab named Duke that's laying beside him on the bed right now. Oh, Duke. Let me see if there's anything let's see. What if you have a dream nightmare? Okay, Jeremiah, he's got the best questions. I'm gonna have to put him on payroll. He says, what if you have a dream nightmare about one?
About an orb?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that orbs can come in your dreams too. I had a dream that actually is part of the book. They defined the color, a few of the colors for me. They only gave me 3 colors that night, but there's a reason that orbs comes into your dream. And Jeremiah, I would just say you need to like take a look at that and what's going on in your life, and start looking for some synchronicities and tap into your intuition because that's key.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's get into the MUFON part, because once again, it all kind of, you would be amazed at the stories you hear, the weirdness, the Sasquatch, the orbs. They all just seem to happen in the same general area. So I'm about to die to ask this. It's not Bigfoot related.
Go ahead.
What's the weirdest sighting you got or a report of?
Ooh.
It's gonna be good.
It's going to be an experiencer one. Was the weirdest. I won't give any names, but I'll give a little bit of the detail of it. The lady, she started having dreams of reoccurring back when she was 18 years old in her bedroom, and started sketching. And her sketches were amazing of the being that was interacting with her. And it was very interesting that it looked a little bit reptilian, but a lot smaller. It was very interesting. That case was really really neat because of the fact that she took the time to get regressed, and then also really tapped into her dreams and started sketching everything that she was seeing, and it was coming back. And that happens too. If you don't deal with something, it's going to come back, and a lot of times it comes back in our dreams. And that's what happened with her.
Well,
it was fascinating.
Washington State seems to be a hot spot for everything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yep.
incredible. Let me ask you this. How about North Carolina? Do you get a lot through the grapevine about North Carolina?
Yeah, I have a good friend that is the state director there in North Carolina, and they have a lot of cases as well. There's a lot going on, and it seems to be around national forests, mountain regions. Um, yeah, the larger mountains, national forests is the phenomenon is there, and it's still happening. Yeah.
Uwari is said, Uwari National Forest, those mountains are said to be the oldest in the world.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of energy there, a lot of history
Oh
there,
yeah.
just so much there. So you guys have any questions about UFOs? Because to me, orbs, UFOs, I mean, all just kind of, it goes together.
It all connects.
And can you imagine how hard it is when you've had a encounter with a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, whatever, or even little people? Or can you imagine
Hmm.
how hard it is for someone to come forward about
Yeah.
a UFO or a abduction experience? Or because I've heard
Hmm.
sometimes people don't come back, so they
Yeah.
just they're 1 minute and gone the next. But I don't know. I would love to get a hold of the your friend in North Carolina, because that's something I really wanted to explore and maybe investigate one day.
Sure, I'll
Uh,
connect you with her.
I'm not
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but I can talk. I can talk to people. Um,
Yes, you can.
so let's go into that. You had an experience, so you said, okay, I had this experience. I want to understand it. So
Right.
you joined MUFON. Eh,
Right. But before that, Victoria, it really happened back in 2017 when I was working. I shared with you earlier that I work with kids that sometimes get into trouble, and then they end up with me in the school. So I was working with those kind of kids and loved every minute of it. They're just misunderstood. That's all. And so one day, the thought came to my mind that you need to go into the library and look up a Bigfoot book, get a Bigfoot book. That was what was placed in my mind, or the thought came to me. I thought it was odd, but I didn't really mind so much because I thought, why not? I'm kind of interested. I'd like to know. One, I would like to know if there's even a Bigfoot book in the school's library. And guess what? There was one. And so I checked it out, and that one, Victoria, turned into over 100. I couldn't stop. I could not stop reading about them. I wanted to understand them. There was almost an obsession, if you would, about finding out about them, learning about them. And then I said, that's it. I want to connect with them. I want a relationship, just like Kawani Lapsaritis, who wrote The Psychic Sasquatch. And that book changed everything. I knew that they were more than just a clan of people. There was more to them. They were psychic, and they had a lot of different abilities. And so he connected me. He he doused an area for me to go and find and go and sit and invite them in, basically, is what I was told to do. Go and sit, bring a book, enjoy yourself, fill your heart with love. Always fill your heart with love. Get rid of the fear, and they will come. Well, that's hard to do when you go deep in the forest, is to, yes, I can fill my heart with love, but there's always that heart beating that's a little bit fearful. So I did it, and they did come, but they didn't show themselves. But what they did do is made it very clear they were there, because I heard like a herd of elephant coming down the hill, and I was like, what is that? And it's coming faster and faster and louder. It's now I'm scared. Now I'm like, oh geez, I got to go past that to get to my car. How am I going to do this? Buck up, let's go. I get on the path. I start walking. I see absolutely nothing, but I hear them, and I'm walking past, and I get past part of where the noise is, and I turn, and I look toward them wherever they are, and I say, "Do you want me to stay?" I got nothing, so I left. because my heart was just like boom, 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 boom. I left, and they knew I was in my fear state, so I wasn't gonna see them, and I left. And that from that day, I realized I got to keep going and working on myself. I gotta get rid of this and just open my heart, open my mind to them. And honestly, Victoria, I'm still working on it. I'm still working. But I'm getting more and more encounters with them, and I'm delighted. And if it's just in an orb form and I get to see their face, so be it. Thank you. I feel blessed. But I'm delighted that I'm a part of their life and they're a part of mine. And I look forward to what's going to happen in the future with us and our relationship.
I hope that I get an update. And once again, her book is called Orbs, The Energy of Life. You can find it on Amazon. There, you've got some really good pictures. And when you get to the part about when it appeared with your mom, I was like, oh man. Because I mean, I felt that. But Orbs, The Energy of Life on Amazon. You guys go support her, check her out. That book is awesome. So David does have a question for you.
Absolutely.
David said, could you give info on a flash of light we saw one night in the woods, fast like a camera flash, and it lit up the whole area in a split second?
David, if I was there, I might be able to help you out a little bit, but it's really hard sitting here and just thinking about a flash of light and what that might be. I mean, it could be anything. Honestly, I suppose it could be another hunter. It could be Sasquatch. It could be ET. It could be a craft. It could be an orb. I honestly don't know. And I apologize. I'm not able to answer that. If I was there, I might be able to give you a little bit more. Or if you had a photo, that might help me too.
Oh, okay. So I had a friend named Donna, and Donna wanted me, she showed me a picture, but because my inability to attach pictures on StreamYard, you're laughing. It's okay. I laugh at myself. Um, it looked like an orange ball, but it looked like it was solid, but it was like bright orange, and it just shoots across the sky. And she said it was the most abnormal thing that she has ever seen in her life. And she wanted me to ask you, had you ever got any reports of something like that? Because I seen the same thing in a picture from Alaska once, and it just was like a ball in the sky. It just, wow.
I've seen it. I've seen it when I was 10 years old. I was in New York, and I was 10 years old in the back seat, and my dad's driving. We're on the highway, and that ball that she described, that big orange ball, came
Mhm.
right down to the highway. And all the cars had to have seen it. Everyone had to have seen it, right? It certainly made an impression on me. Now, hindsight, looking back, was that a craft? Was that an orb? Is an orb a craft? Because I believe that there's different types of orbs that are crafts and orbs that are of a spirit nature, um, as a way of traveling in terms of a being, um, animal spirits, souls that have passed on. But those other orbs could indeed be craft too. And that's what I think it is. That orange ball that I saw with my own eyes, I believe it's a craft.
This was in North Carolina a few months ago, and there was also some more sightings in town I work in, Fayetteville, North Carolina, not too long ago. And I mean, apparently there was a bunch of sightings back to back to back to back on the same night. And I'm like, why weren't I looking up? I tell you why I wasn't looking up, because I was sitting on the couch drinking soda and eating Doritos and being naughty. That's why I'm a chunky little monkey right now. Hey, David Pardue. David Pardue. He researches in UWORI. David, I know you've probably got some experiences with the orbs, the bright flash of light, and other things, and that's what we're talking about tonight. David just jumped on. She's also a MUFON investigator, and so like I said, you guys, she's incredible. Ask your questions. That's what she's here. And David said, yes, I believe. Whoops. Hey, that's the wrong one. Y'all moved up too fast on me. David produces. Yes, I believe orbs can be a craft. I've seen them. Do you have anything you want to add to that with your research and knowledge?
I agree 100%. But remember, those are the orbs you see with your own eyes. Now, the orbs that I am photographing, I don't see until I review them once I get in back inside and review what I have. I can see the light through my iPad because that's what I'm viewing through as I take the pictures, but and I can see a flash of light, but until I sit down and start reviewing them, then I see them. I don't see them with my own eyes. Okay? But the orbs that we see in the sky, those orbs, like David is saying, are, I believe he's right. They are craft.
Okay, going back. What's the difference between me and my husband both saw it at different times? I described it as a street lamp. A researcher in Florida also described it as the same thing. So he saw it in Florida. My husband saw it. It looked like a street lamp, literally in the middle of the woods, but you could see it with your naked eye. But there's also things that we catch on FLIR you can't see with the naked eye, but you can see it through FLIR. What's the difference? One on physical, or is the energy stronger, or does one man create because we can see it with our naked eye? I don't know what I'm asking. I hope you understand it.
I do understand what you're saying, and that is, I think that some people can see them with their own eyes. I think those people are very close to understanding their own psychic abilities and can see them with their own eyes. There are others like myself where I don't see them with my own eyes unless they want me to. And I think that's really important. They want you to see them, you will see them. It's the same thing with the Sasquatch. They can cloak. And if they don't want to be seen, which is what happened to me in the woods, I didn't see them. If they don't want to be seen, they will not be seen. If they do, they'll make themselves seen just because they want you to see them, not because you want it, but because they want you to see them. You're ready. You're ready to have that kind of contact with them.
I have had some very solid, rough around the edges, boots on the ground researchers that when they started, everything was flesh and blood, and it still may be because the further you get down the rabbit hole, the less you think you know. You go in flesh and blood, but the more you explore and you're honest with yourself about what you see and you experience, the more you talk to people that is in your circle and you know their credibility. You really don't know what's going on. You go so far from, okay, they're flesh and blood. I still think they're flesh and blood. But I've had a lot of them talk about cloaking. I mean,
They're
I've heard
both.
they got the translucent hair. I've heard that before, and you don't know that's what research is for. But you start your research thinking one way, and then you're like, a year later, you're like, I can't believe I'm even saying this out loud. It's,
Some people will, and some researchers won't say it out loud, but they know what they've seen. You can't unsee it. And yeah, if you think about us as human beings, and this is just the container, we have light. We're a light source. We're frequencies. Arla's
or
right. We have our aura as well. We can leave our body at night, and I think we do often. That means we leave in the astral body. Our light leaves. We come back, we're attached. Some people call it the silver cord, where you're attached. You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to come right back to your body. But we all have that ability to leave our bodies in this consciousness, if you will, in this soul. So look, this is just the meat suit, so to speak. It's the same thing with the Sasquatch. I mean, they've learned how to do this. They're ancient. They're ancient people. They have a great understanding of their own abilities. We do not. We're trying. We're learning. We're trying to get there, but we have to open our minds and we have to open our heart to get there. We have to learn about ourselves and be honest, like you said. Be honest with yourself so that you can grow and open your heart to get to that point.
Um, my husband was speaking with someone. Actually, it was yesterday we had this conversation, and he come home and he was telling me about can't remember if he was a preacher or he was in a church, and he went to church and he got blessed and he could just feel the spirit on him, and he decided to go hunt the next day. He was up in his tree stand, and he said this just feeling come on him, and he realized he was raising up. Now this is a solid man in the community. He was raising up off of his tree stand, and something told him to write music, and he's never wrote or composed in his life, and everything just started coming in his mind. But he said he was elevated. Would you go home and say that to your spouse or your friend or anything else? I don't know that I would, but even if you watch, oh man, I love him to death. Sean Ryan. You ever watch him on YouTube, Sean Ryan? Oh, I love him. Oh, I love him. But he has the remote viewing guest. I mean, from the Vietnam era, the I call them the OGs of remote viewing. He's got I think he did one on the Philadelphia experiment because that was part of the conversation. But he talked, I mean, and these are people that are solid veteran people, work with the CIA, their backgrounds have been vetted, and you've got to check them out. I'm going to send you the link. And these things are possible.
Of course they are. Of course, our government knows that. That is. I haven't even seen them. I know that's true. If you read Arla's that she just put up, when you shift your paradigm, a whole new world opens up to you, and that's what I'm excited about, Victoria. That's what's happening to me, and that's what can happen to your audience too. I mean, all you have to do is shift your paradigm, and things start changing in your life. You just open up to it. You don't judge it. You just open up, and it's like you're talking about the veterans that have this remote viewing ability. Absolutely. The government knows that. It knows that we can do that. We can do that. You can do that.
Miss Arla, I was not ignoring your comment. I was hoping she would read it because you put a $2 word right there, paradigm, and I didn't want to mispronounce it. I can't. I'm sorry, I'm just a country girl with that GD. Jeremiah said it was called the Project Stargate.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. You're right, Jeremiah.
So you've heard about that one.
Absolutely.
Okay. But that was some classified stuff too. I mean, yeah, that I wanted to do a show on the remote viewing, and no one has returned my emails or my messages. But I think remote viewing is actually, can you use it in your research techniques? Can you use it, I mean, when it comes to the areas that you want to go to investigate a Sasquatch? Nobody's returning my emails, but it might be because I write my emails like I talk. And honestly, if you never watched the show, you're like, yeah, delete. Because I mean, I write the way I talk.
The Sasquatch sisters, actually, I think it's Jen that can do that. She remote views to see where they're at so they can go out and have interactions with them and do the research with them. So she remote views. She knows where they're at.
You said that's Sasquatch sisters? Oh, okay.
That's correct.
Well, when you talk to them, tell them if they get an email from an old country girl that writes the way she talks to please respond. I appreciate it.
Your good friend Tom has connections with them, so I'm sure he's listening. If he's not listening now, I'm sure he'll connect you with them.
Okay. Arla says, I'm ahead for tomorrow with that $2 word. I love you, Orla. That's worthy to go on the screen, Orla. Now David Pardue said he has some videos that he could send you that would blow your mind.
Send
And
them. Send
I
them,
send them to
please.
David Pardue. Um, Jeremiah wants to know, is that why he used to sleepwalk? Is sleepwalking tied into any of that? When you
Jeremiah,
said
I have no idea about sleepwalking and how that's tied in. I mean, I think
paradigm,
there are people that have had contact and they get that thought in their head, that mind speak in their head to come out the front door, and some of them end up greeting a craft and a being. That could be part of that. I don't know. I mean, you'll have to kind of reflect on that yourself, Jeremiah. But I know that many of the people that I have interviewed have had that, where they get the mind speak to come outside of their home, which is unheard of, right? To go outside of your home and then meet a being and then go on to a craft with them. So yeah,
so
that
mind
does happen.
mind speak is pretty much like a intuition.
No, no, ma'am. In my book, this is how my definition of mind speak is. You literally hear the audio tone of the being, the individual talking to you in your head. You hear it. Now, telepathy is when they can drop a thought into your brain, which could be their thought, it could be your own, but more than likely that thought was dropped in there by another being. If it's completely unnatural to you, what you're accustomed to thinking, like, where did that come from? That may not be your thought. It may have been dropped in. That's telepathy. And we've all done telepathy, right? Oh, I think the phone's going to ring and it's going to be my best friend. Yep, that's telepathy.
David said, David's into all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's a magnet. I call him a doo-doo magnet. He says MUFON has seen stills from the video, but they want me to sign off on the rights, so he declined. Is that a common practice?
Um, I I would say yes, that if the investigator needed to do that, they probably got that from someone higher above that asked them,
Wow.
because when they take that information in, it goes to an archive. So they may want your permission, your written permission to archive that with your name on it.
So this is a report I got from someone that's pretty close to me. So I'm not gonna call it report. It come out in conversation. They were out in the woods, and a real bright light just come out of nowhere, lit the woods up, and they're like, "I got to get out of here." And I mean, even the dog reacted to it. Do you get a
Hmm.
lot of reports like that? And what
Yeah.
happens to the people that don't listen to that?
Yeah, I think it's really important to listen to how you are feeling and the thoughts you're having during something like that when you're seeing a bright light. And if you get a feeling like you need to get out of there, you follow up on that. Go with that. Go with your instinct. So the people, what happens to them? I do not know what happens to those people, but
They're not
it may
around to
not be good. They're not around to report it.
if you've never had a report of someone that stayed when the lights went off, odds are they're not around to report it. But here's what's fascinating. You got me on a roll, Penny. We're supposed to. Oh, you said I could go,
Yeah.
lady. So okay. Um, if you're getting those reports of the white lights flashing like lightning, no
Mhm.
storms in the area, and you're getting them all over different places, different reports. Boom, white light, strange. I mean, it could scare the bejeebus Jesus out of you, but you get that gut feeling. Things start hearing guttural growls. There's something to it because this person
Mhm.
surely they didn't. call someone in Washington and say, well, I need you to report this in 2 years and 27 seconds and just correlate that so I can be validated in what happened to me. I mean, how much of that do you get where you're finding that state and state and state and there's no answer to it?
Well, I'm going to tell you that MUFON does UFOs, and they do contact with different beings from the craft. But other than that, they do not go into the cryptid or the Sasquatch. They kind of steer from that. If they get that kind of report in, sometimes it does get issued out, but um, they may have to tell the person that they don't investigate that type of um, report,
I,
for lack
I,
of a better word.
I understand that, but wouldn't that be part of the investigation?
Sometimes it is, yes. And in those cases, then it's investigated. Absolutely, 100%. I haven't received one of those, um, but
Without
yeah, we would investigate it if it's associated with the craft beings on board. Yes.
So without going into a lot of details, because I mean, I don't want to be intrusive on someone's experience, which one sticks in your mind the most, other than the contact you had? Which person did you really have? You don't have to go, into personal stuff, but what's that progress story you had with someone that you thought you were losing and you were able to step in and give them a sense of reality and security back? Have you had one of those? Because I,
Oh
I love
yes.
helping people.
Oh, me too. Me too. Yeah, when I get a elderly woman who's now in her 70s and is coming forward and just wants reassurance over and over that no one's going to put her name out there and that she's really concerned about anyone finding out that she made this report, and then being able to be there and let her know that this is incompetence. This is between you and you share as much as you would like to. If you don't want to go into detail this area, that's fine. You share what you want to share with me, but I'm here for you so that I can provide you the resources that you need. And that's how I handle it because, I'm not a pushy person. If someone wants to share with me, they will. And honestly, most people want to share with me. They just open up and they share what had happened to them, and in much detail too. Surprisingly, more detail than I ever thought they would or anticipated. And for that, I'm very grateful because it just tells me this world is so much more than what we even realize. What I'd say 90% of the population is even aware of. You know.
So you go in, you got to establish trust with them. When you're dealing with your own experience in your, how often have you ever had a reoccurrence that was related to your first experience? Can I say that?
No, but I use my experience to share with them if I need to so they can feel comfortable. I let them know that I'm an experiencer as well. And if they want to know some of that, I will certainly share that with them. I think that helps build trust, and it also helps me, you know, getting it out there so that it's not stuck inside of me, that I'm actually sharing with the world that there's things that are happening to us, and it's okay. I mean, my experience is beautiful. Not everyone has a beautiful experience, and it's really important for them to get that out because any of that energy that may be inside of you that's negative means you're harboring it. That's negative energy that you don't want inside. You want it out. You want to get rid of it so you can keep a good flow of positive energy. And that's really important too. Your thoughts, what you think, how you feel, it's very, very important. I think it's number one.
So I didn't, someone had asked about the red orb. I don't
Mhm.
know if that was captured on the photo or they saw that with the naked eye. I guess that would make a difference, wouldn't it? Knowing those little, um,
Red orbs.
yeah,
Yeah.
knowing if they saw it with the naked eye, or because you said if they allow you to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I've seen a red orb through my camera. I have one red orb that I've been able to photograph, and it wasn't a good clear picture. It was really over onto the side, and so I only captured part of it. It's not part of the book because it wasn't as clear as some of the other ones that I have. I mean, I have over 22,000 photos in a 2-year span. So
These
100
photos,
170 made it. Yeah, it's
these
a lot of
photos,
photos.
that's not some bug going across the camera either, y'all. You have,
Absolutely not.
I mean,
100%. I know the difference between bug, rain, pollen, grains of sand, anything like that. I can kind of tell the difference. I've been doing this for a couple of years. You learn real quick.
you're pretty sharp there too, Penny. David Pardue, Penny, have you talked with folks that have experienced a praying mantis type thing? Can you
Yes,
tell us that?
yes, yes. Let's see. Yes, this particular person, and I'm going to keep it real general because remember it is confidential, so I won't
Understand?
give no names and not a lot of detail. But this particular person had an encounter with a mantis being. The mantis, that is a Sasquatch face there. This mantis being implanted a implant under his skin, and now he wants it taken out. He wants it removed, and he wants to know. He just wants it out, and he wants to have it. He's working with some physicians that he's hoping he'll be able to retrieve it back. Because a lot of times when doctors or surgeons take things out of us, they say we've got to take this and work it in a lab or have to take it away. But he's hoping that he can get this. But yeah, it was a mantis being that put with a needle under his skin in his arm, um, uh, an implant. Mm-hmm.
I've
Yep.
heard about those implants before, but my mind was not open to it. So and I, I was not a good friend because I didn't keep an open mind. This
It's
was
okay.
years ago, and unfortunately, because I was such a closed-minded, narrow-minded, angry hussy, I don't know if I could salvage that friendship. We grow as we grow older, we grow and we mature, and we realize that
Right. That's right.
there's more to our world than what we realize, and if we could go back and do things again, and I'm kind of showing my belly here, but if we
Mm-hmm.
could go back and we could
Yeah.
do things and change things, you would approach. I mean, I wasn't rude about it, but I should have asked more and showed more compassion because you
Yeah.
chose me to open up to.
Right.
And
You weren't
I don't,
ready. You weren't
well,
ready, Victoria.
that's a betrayal of a friendship, and I don't like betrayal.
But
But yeah, I did that. Yeah,
hey, Victoria, but look at you now. Look at you. You're interviewing people that are having the same kind of conversations that your good friend was trying to have with you. And to me, that makes amends because you're really raising your energy and your vibration way past what you were. Look at you. I mean,
well,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
I was speaking to someone the other day when I said someone's experience, that's part of their story, and I want to tell the story, but I want the person behind the story. I want to show them as a human being that we're not quacks and that we're just like everyone else in the world.
Well,
And
Victoria, people are gonna think and respond how they can and choose to in that time. All you can do is plant the seed. If it
yeah,
grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It wasn't meant to be. But people that don't believe in what you're speaking about, that's on them. It's not on you. It's not on me. I know my truth. You know your truth, and we're sharing it live. You know.
and that's why I say you start at one place, and if some people's journey may just be class A siding, and that's
Yep.
what they learned, and that's where their research took them. Someone else's research may go beyond that, and it may take a
Right.
sharp right, but your experience is your story,
That's
and
right.
you have a story and you have a platform. As long as I have a show, whether people agree with it or not, I think this is very fascinating. But the
Absolutely.
more I hear, I talk to people that you don't even know, and
Hmm.
it's just the same. It,
All right.
and if it's not the exact same, it's darn near similar. But
And Victoria, thank
yes, ma'am.
you. Thank you for your platform.
Oh,
Thank you for your show and opening it up to the world so that everyone can learn and be aware that there's more to life than just this material world in which we live in. There's so much more. And they can choose when it's time for them to open up their hearts and open up their minds. All we're
oh,
doing is sharing. And you have the platform for it. Thank you so much.
thank you. I'm humbled for that. Thank you. Linda said there seems to be a number of different things out there.
Absolutely. I know Linda. She's a dear friend of mine. Hi, Linda. And
Hi,
she's
Linda.
absolutely right. Many of these beings can travel in that form, as you and I have talked about. They can choose to travel in that form. Yeah. Yep.
Uh, Jeremiah says, "Oh, before I forget, David needs to talk to you about the print set for me.
The mantis. The mantis being. Yep. That's
He's
okay.
pretty urgent about he needed to speak to you. Is it
Okay.
okay if I pass his information?
Yeah. My email is mufonpak, MUFONPAK at gmail.com. Feel free
It's
to
in the
email me, David.
it's in the description. Um,
Perfect.
so Jeremiah says, "Hey Penny, does Phil Snyder ring a bell?" Snyder.
Yes, yes, very much. Phil Snyder was murdered, honestly, if you want to put it that blatantly, but he was murdered because he knew things that were happening in, I believe the town is called Dulce or Dulce, and he knew things were happening in that town because there was an underground base, a deep underground base that had different beings inside. And he was a contractor, and he was contracted to go in and make these underground areas. So they used really heavy equipment to make these underground bases. And I believe that they're all over the United States. Wherever there's a base, there's probably an underground base associated with it. But he's absolutely right, and he got murdered because he started going public. He started going into symposiums, UFO symposiums, and he was a big name. He was people were calling him to be speakers at their events, and he was talking. He was sharing everything he knew. Yeah, he was murdered. His ex-wife even said she believes he was murdered. I
Is that
believe
the
he was too.
is that a gentleman that they slipped like maybe cyanide in his tea,
No,
or
he had a cord wrapped around his neck, and he was. They said it was suicide. He didn't do that.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
that goes around in the
And here's an interesting thing. Was that David that asked about that, or Jeremiah?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. The other interesting aspect, if you go in a little bit deeper and look at my last name, Rummel, his best friend Rummel was also murdered. Look into that. And I've been trying to find more information on that man because I think we're related somehow because we have share the same last name. But if you find out something, please let me know, Jeremiah.
He said Bill Cooper too. I think that's the one that they believe they slipped poison to,
Mm-hmm.
because he was talking about the MK Ultra and all of that. I think that was that Bill Cooper, Jeremiah. I think he's gone. He's sleeping on me. Linda said surgeons find different odd things inside of patients.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, and they keep it because they have to do a biopsy on it or whatever they have to do with it. But I'm hoping that my the person that I investigated and helped through his experience is able to retrieve it. I'm hoping he does because he wants to. But you
So,
know, they've disappeared too. I've seen where um, things have been taken out of someone's body and then they just disappear. they shrivel up. Some people have seen it disappear right in their hand.
I wonder if the
Technology.
people that get it taken out, if they come back, whatever put it in there and try to put it in again.
Yes, yes. That's definitely happens. Not all the time, but yes, they do. If they want it in, it's in there for a reason. And this is my own belief, that you have had some kind of contact with them and understanding that this was going to happen. This was part of your life, and that you had this interaction with them. And I believe mine was too. There's some kind of soul connection or soul plan that I was supposed to interact with the Sasquatch people. And who knows, maybe I was in another life a Sasquatch person.
When you probably know the case I'm talking about, I know David does. The guy used to live in my area that I worked, not the one I work now. Hope Mills, North Carolina. So 2 gray men and the orange orbs showed up. Do you remember that one? Seemed to be very sound mind. Maybe it happened 15 years ago. Do you know, David, when it happened? It was by the river, Cape Fear River. Saw the orbs, got spooked. I'm trying to remember the story. And he saw 2 grays in his yard, and he lost time. And he was a very prominent, he wasn't a construction worker. He was a very prominent contractor. So he had nothing to gain by coming forward. Actually, he had everything to lose. Very successful. And he would video with his phone the orbs coming in. I can't remember if they were red or orange, but they would still come in through the night sky. Does that sound familiar? David said Jerry Bledsoe. I weren't going to say his name, but there you go, David. Jerry Bledsoe. Do you remember that one?
I know Chris Bledsoe that has his own experiences. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I know. Yes, I'm aware of Chris. Absolutely.
Jeremiah, did you hear this on the Sean Ryan show? I'm plugging Sean Ryan tonight as much as your book. Orbs, the Energy of Life, Amazon. Guys, go support her. You will love this book. David corrected himself and said, Orbs, the Energy of Life. I'm telling you, if you guys are into the energy, I mean, I already got your report wrong with your mom, but I apologize. I weren't being disrespectful, but I was trying to collate the Jeremiah Sutton said, who was the doctor that was removing them and passed away a year or 2 ago?
Roger Lear.
Oh, wow. So did he pass away naturally?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
he
okay.
Did. Yes, he did.
Okay, Roger. Yep, he said that's it. Once again, guys, Orbs, the Energy of Life. Go to Amazon. Support her. She has given us a lot of information in her time, which, you know, her time's like ours is valuable. And I'm going to send this to you one day and get you to sign it.
Okay, I will.
So, hang on, y'all. I'm going to be like Mama Vicky here, and I'm going to read something, okay? Tell me when you know where this is from. I know you are there. I feel and sense the stare. I wonder who you think might be. In a glance, I think I can see. When I have an open heart, you know me, and come to be a part. I love you as we are related. We are all connected, and it has to be stated. Your orb life energy flows, and now I know. Wow.
Yep.
I love poetry, but you wrote that.
I did. I did for the book. I did. Yeah. And it just flowed out of me like it was meant to be. Yes.
I love poetry. I love poetry, art, stained glass. And a lot of people don't know that because I'm a little rough around the edges, right? But I read that and I was like, stop, Penny, just stop. That's emotion right there. That's emotion.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any more questions for Penny? Any more questions for Penny? So, Penny, let's touch. David said he has just started his first book. I have dibs on that, David, for you to come on the show and let me get first dibs at you because you're my friend. Um, Going back to the book. Out of all of those photos, which are your favorite? You said you had several thousand. Which one, just one, was left you in awe?
Well, it's absolutely the first Sasquatch that came to me in the orb, not the juvenile, the one under the maple tree. Did you see him?
Hang on. I was trying to download. I tried for hours to download. I'm like, I told my husband, I said, honey, I am not the brightest crayon in the box because this should be simple. Um, I'm trying to find a page. It's at the front of the book. I think it's at the front of the book. I'm making you
I
work. You're supposed to be a guest.
No, it's okay. I don't mind working. It's kind of fun flipping through this book, isn't it?
I mean, the
It's
orbs are
so many
just
pictures.
incredible. The orbs
Let's
are,
see.
I just
There
put
he,
you on the, yeah.
there he
What?
is. Let me see if I can get this a little bit better. We'll go this
David
way.
said, I bet I
There
had
he
red
is.
eye.
He's sitting
Now,
down.
David, yeah. Now you see that really good on the monitor. I
Photo.
mean, on the,
Hmm.
yeah. David will see that in a heartbeat because he showed me something tonight that's almost identical to that. Was I supposed to say that, David? Okay, I did. I apologize. He shared, yeah, that is wow. And
That's my favorite, Victoria. That's my
what's
favorite.
what's the backstory behind that?
Well, the backstory's in my book, the second one coming out. And
Uh,
I will share a little bit. It's very emotional, a very, very emotional story. Um, I'm going to save it for the second book, but I will say that he came to me on Mother's Day. Okay. It was pretty significant. And
wow.
I'll save that for the book, if you don't mind.
Is that like the 11/11 moment?
Pretty close. Yes. And by the way, you were right. My mom showed herself. She showed herself in that orb on Thanksgiving. So you were right. You were in that ballpark.
I My husband will tell you this with dates and times, and my sequences are off, and it comes from a brain injury. I just dates and times I have the worst time with, and I offend so many people. Um, Linda says that war picture is like no other I have seen. Most amazing. Spoken like a true lady, Linda.
She's she's wonderful, and she one day you might want her on your show because she's wrote a book too. She's a good friend of mine. Yeah, she's written a book. Linda, if you don't mind sending the name of your book that you wrote to Victoria to share that,
If
because
you,
that
yeah,
book is pretty significant in my life as well.
David
Linda's
said
a
number David said number 11 is added to his tattoo. Linda, if you'll type it in there, I'll put it on the screen. But while you're doing that, Orbs, the energy of life, you can find it on Amazon. That if you even look through the back, it has the colors and the energy she felt at the time, and she's kind of documented that. The one with Titus,
Mhm.
that can you see it? I have like the
Yeah.
screensaver in the background because if you see my office area, you'd be like, oh my God, clean up, girl. Um, Said her book is, you're laughing at me. The Sasquatch People,
With you.
Guardians. That's a good one. The Sasquatch People, Guardians of the Earth, Memoirs of a Sasquatch Experiencer. And is this on author Leanna Sire? Siler. Did I get it right, Siler?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's her pen name. Correct. You did good.
Okay.
You did good.
Okay.
Wonderful
Um,
book.
and that's on Amazon too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to pin name? Um, is there anything else you would like to touch on the orbs, Sasquatch, or the MUFON's my thing now. I'm like I could
Well,
just do a whole
actually,
show on that now.
are we getting ready to wrap up? Is that what you're
You can
saying?
go as long as you want.
Oh,
I just
okay,
want to make
okay.
sure I
Yeah,
get everything out there. As long as they're asking questions, we'll stay on there. But see, Jeremiah said something that kind of. Do you find people that have had encounters, or people like me that have had near-death experiences, TBIs, severity? I don't know why I haven't been abducted yet because I was
maybe you
right
don't
through the phone.
remember. Maybe
Oh,
you don't
this.
remember.
I
Maybe
don't
you
know.
have.
Don't. Oh, girl. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, a psychic from England told me when I was over in England. I think I might have spoke on this before. She didn't know me from Adam, but she worked with Scotland Yard, and she happened to be at this party I was at in England. And when she come through the door, she made a straight beeline to me, and this is really interesting. Straight beeline to me, and she goes, "As soon as I saw you, I saw a totem pole in your background." And she said it had a Thunderbird on it, and she said it was on fire. I said, "Oh my God, that's my life story right there." But I think it was Rigby. I can't remember which guest I had that told me that what the Thunderbird meant coming out of ashes, or that
Hmm.
might, he said it might have been the Phoenix. I don't know, but anyway, that's been a mystery for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
David says because I'll cut them. All right, he picks on me because, yeah,
Everything
whatever.
everything happens for a reason, Victoria. She came to you because she saw that. That was wonderful that she shared that with you. That's beautiful.
I didn't know
Uh,
what a totem pole on fire meant. I'm like, am I still going to go to hell? Did I not learn something after my near death experience? Um, let's see. David said, y'all going to have me spending all my money. Well, there's two books out there you definitely need to get. Definitely need to get them. Um, Don'ts. I know Fort Bragg has underground tunnels. I know this because I had a friend that used to do specialty work in the military before they were transferred over to Florida. No, his group stayed here. That made a reference to that one time. Then he was like, never mind. But in case of an emergency, there is a place I heard you go down there and you will not be found and you will be safe. You ever heard that? Because he put dumbs in there, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you can't talk about
yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, our government officials all have a safe haven if anything goes down. Yeah, I mean, they're underground for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, once again, we're going back to Sean Ryan. As much as I mentioned him tonight, he really needs to come on my show. I think I'm going to send him an email. I have nothing to lose, right? He
If he's
said,
watching.
I doubt it. I doubt it. David is that's equivalent. David and Icebox and Jeremiah and everyone else. Um, he said there's some stones there levitating. Does granite and all of that have something? Does that play a part with all of the orbs or the abductions or the experiences? Does
Some say that. I mean, granite has a lot of energy associated with it. I think that um, different beings are attracted to our different ley lines and where the energy is on the earth. So I think there is something to that where the granite, and anyone else that's on that knows more about this, feel free to chime in. But I do believe that granite has high energy, high frequency, high energy associated with it. So it would make sense.
You said ley lines. Now you've done and opened a can of worms, woman.
Yeah, I'm known to do that.
I wanted to do a show on ley lines, so I have my friend Emmy. She's sending me everything she can on it. So I'm really in because I'm like, if I want to have an experience, I need to follow those ley lines and see where they intersect, right?
Well, some people think that the Four Corners has some amazing energy there, and there may be some ley lines that cross there where Four Corners is, which is basically uh, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. That's the Four Corners. Where they intersect is the Four Corners. So there's a lot of energy there. A lot of people go there.
David
They're drawn
said,
to it.
I don't know if you watched the guest because you said you love my show. You might have just been being nice. I don't know if you watched a show with Trey Hudson on it called The Meadow Project. David wants to know if you've talked to Trey Hudson.
No, I have not. I have not. And I don't believe I've watched that show, but I do love your show. And I love you. Yes.
Stop it. I'm flattered. I'm humbled. I love you. Thank you. They call it a bromance. I guess this is a girl bro kind of.
Girl rant.
A girl. That's just okay. Limestone too. Jeremiah says limestone has an effect too.
Sure. A lot of different crystals and different rocks have higher vibration to them. Crystals are a big part of that. Rocks like granite. Absolutely. They have higher energy.
I think Jeremiah is much smarter than he looks. I think he's smarter than he looks. So I know you guys have some more questions. We have got a lady here that's just a wealth of knowledge. I want to go back to the ley lines. Do you ever use the ley lines with your work, or do you see a pattern there where there's
that's a good question. That's a team that I'm not on. We have different teams. It's a star team that actually goes out when there's been craft landing. That would be very exciting, but I'm not on that team that goes out when there's a landing, and that I am sure they are looking for the ley lines and the energy that's coming from the Mother Earth. Absolutely, but I'm not on that team. It's called the Star Team.
How do you get on that team? What do you got to know?
You got to be in it for a while, I think.
Engineer, mechanical, or
and work your way up. I mean, right now I'm actually an assistant state director now, so that was just an extra thing that got added to my bucket, so to speak.
Well, I'm 52. I doubt I got enough time to climb that ladder, but I would just be happy just to do report interviews. And I'm gonna hit somebody up when I get off the show.
I think you should. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little country, and some people just feel comfortable with that. You know, because you're not a threat to people, and I don't know if that would.
You should look into it.
Arla says ley lines can be felt as well. And David Pardue says, check out the ley lines that are over Uwari. I tried that, but it didn't seem like there's a lot of that crisscross. Do they have to crisscross, or you just go straight down the line? As long as the line on the map touches it. Do you know that? When you're talking about the ley lines?
I think the ley lines are just an area in which has high energy. It comes from I'm not an expert in ley lines whatsoever, but it does have high energy that comes up from the earth. It's all over the earth. There's ley lines all over this world, and they produce high energy. And I think there's the different crafts or beings that are associated with the craft are attracted to that.
Jeremiah said I think he's referring to investigating the crash scenes. He said, is that a part of our Space Force?
Space Force is relatively new. It falls under the Air Force right now, but it is its own separate branch of service. It is a branch of service. It's one I would have loved to have joined. I wish that had been a choice back in the 80s, but it wasn't. But I did do 4 years in the Air Force. So the question was related around ley lines and the Space Force. Is that the question, or
I think he meant maybe
crashed?
the
Crash?
crash investigations. Is that what you meant, Jeremiah? I need to play Jeopardy music in the background while he types that. Maybe not. Arla says there are other energy lines that interact with ley lines. And David said, check out the ones that run over Uwari. Uwari is a strange place. That
Never been
place,
there.
oh, Penny, you got to come to North Carolina. You have a
I guess
open
so.
invitation. You have a open invitation.
Thank you.
Come on down.
Okay.
Hey, I'm serious.
We'd have fun.
Yes, we would. All I'm saying is I take cue from Fred and Fred in Alaska. If you go out with me, you're going to be called Sasquatch bait. So I hope you can't run faster. You're welcome, Fred. David said he'll take you to Uwari too. So you have an open
Aw.
invitation with. I mean,
Wow. Thank you. That's
I've seen videos with orbs around animals in distress. Has anyone seen this? Did Linda hear about the story about Titus or?
yes. Yes. Linda does know that about Titus and the orb around him. She has one of my books, and I have one of her books, and yes, she absolutely does. Has anyone else seen this? Absolutely. I mean, I've seen it. Has your audience seen it? That would be an interesting question to ask them too. But
So
yeah.
does she mean like an animal that's injured, frightened, that the
Yeah.
orbs are there trying to give it comfort, or?
Well, sometimes animals react to different orb energies. Remember, orbs can be of a very positive energy. They can also be of a negative energy. And I would think if they were of a negative energy, that would be distressing on an animal
Oh
because they
man,
can see them. They see them.
wow. My police dog Ella, when she retired, before she passed away, she would stare in the corner. And I had another dog, a German Shepherd named Baby Girl, and she would stare at the same place, and I'd be like, never saw anything. But I mean, just same corner all the time. Just
Yeah, they see things. They
yeah.
also see, like, for example, Titus passing. They see Titus. I don't get to always see Titus. I'll see him as an orb, but they see him. There was
Oh,
another kitty that we had that's no longer here. My other cats see them. Yeah, I think that that definitely happens where animals can pick up on that.
Linda said, or horses at the slaughter pen. I hate to think
Mhm.
about that. I'll
Mhm.
say this when you talk about orbs and animals and the energy and where we go, when our bodies just depleted of us, when, I had my near death experience. From that near death experience, when they revived me and brought me back, I went into a 4-month induced coma. And during that coma, I had kidney failure. They did dialysis, fluid on
Mhm.
the lungs, the head trauma. I mean, literally every time I moved, I quit breathing. And I went into a place. Um, People think I'm crazy, but it was almost between life and death. I can't explain it. And I had a cat named Scarlet that lived 21 years. 21 years. And in my mind, I was getting up to go. There was like a tunnel there, and I was trying to go to the tunnel.
Mhm.
And every time I would get up to go run to the tunnel, because something in my mind was like, go to that tunnel, go to that tunnel. My 21-year-old cat Scarlet, I loved her. She was there, and she would trip me, and I could never make it to the tunnel. Every time I'd get up and go, she was between my legs, and she would trip me. And I'm like, why do you keep tripping me?
Mhm.
And I mean, this is going on in my mind. And then just like that, the tunnel was gone. She was gone. And it was really weird. So what you say, I don't care what people say. That was my experience.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that were all of it. But that, I believe she was there. The more I think about it, and as time passes by, and I try to, figure things out, I was there. She didn't want me in that tunnel.
That's exactly right. I think so.
So I wonder what would have happened had I just made my way to that tunnel. I mean,
Well,
I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
just from my experience in interacting with many different near-death experiencers, a lot of near-death experiencers get to a point where they can't go any further because at that point you've got to make a decision about if you step any further, you will be gone forever in terms of that body that is still associated with you. You'll be done. You get to go on in with the light and continue on your life, but it's a choice. You look, it really sounds like she's tripping you because she knows you're not supposed to go there. You're not even supposed to go to that point where you get that choice. She's already made that for you. She's trying to let you know you're not supposed to go to that at this time. You have much more to give in this body at this time.
Well, when I tell
I'll be
you the
right.
other,
Give me
you're
one
fine. You're
second.
fine.
1 second. Nature calls for my pup.
Oh, you're fine. Let the doggy out. You need to bring the doggy in and let us see her and all. Do you guys have any more questions? Any more questions? Any near death questions or anything? Um, so I'll go in to another part of that. Um, and it's really hard. I'm not going to go into the whole story because I mean, it's your show, it's not mine. But let's just cut
All
through the
connected, Victoria. The truth of it is, it's all connected. So it's beautiful that you're sharing, and I thank you for that because I absolutely love hearing about NDEs and people's experiences that they have when they actually cross over and have all these different experiences on the other side. So please.
yeah. Well, the near death experience come when I was in the field. Basically, I was on duty going to a hot call. Long story why I wanted to get there before my guys did. Supervisor on duty, blah, blah, blah. Cops were used to going high rate of speeds, 120, 25, easy cheesy, right? Especially if you're on a road you're on all the time. Well, I weren't going that fast, but I was going 90, so it's not is puppy okay?
Yeah, he's right here. Oh, puppy's right there. He's doing
What?
great.
You're not a puppy. You're not a puppy. Uh,
You want to get up there? All right. Please
you
continue
go
on.
ahead.
I'm gonna help
Go
him.
ahead.
He's 14. He needs help up on the
Oh,
bed. All right, Bob. Come on.
Cowboy's getting like that now, where his little joints are getting to him. Bless his heart. His little joints. We have to give him a supplement. Basically, long story short, cute dog, by the way. Long story
Mm,
short,
thank you.
um, and I was actually talking about this today. That's the weird part about it. Um, I was thrown out of my car. My car flipped head over tails 5 times. Um, I was thrown out because any cop would tell you you don't want to roll up on the scene with your seatbelt on. You don't, because bad things happen when you're trapped in your car, especially going to a disturbance where there's 30, 40 people out there fighting, and you only got, I worked for a small department at the time. We only had 4 officers working. So I was trying to get there before my guys did. So I wrecked my car, and I was thrown over 40 feet and landed in a cotton field. I woke up briefly, and I saw the silhouette that was standing over me praying. Now I have 5 Pentecostal preachers in my family, and I don't know if you know anything about Pentecostal preachers. We throw down, okay? I'm Southern Baptist because I couldn't hang with them, and my mouth I couldn't. Anyway, we throw down, and his prayer. I looked up, and the sun was behind this man, and all I saw was a silhouette. The sun was in the perfect position where it was just raised coming from the back of his head, and I just seen a silhouette, and I knew he was praying for me. And then I went right back and closed my eyes. And what had happened was a preacher had seen me crash my patrol car, and he literally found me in the cotton field, and he was praying over me. And that's when I woke up and I see him. That was his silhouette. Medics got there, and for a brief moment, I looked down and looked over the shoulders of the medics, and I could see my leg way over here over my head. And I remember looking down. I was like, "Shit, that's gotta hurt." And I realized it was me. And then it was like I went back and I started feeling the pain again. But for that brief minute, I looked over and I could see them working on me. So, they revived me a couple of times. But anyway, they ended up life flatting me to do blah, blah, blah. But it was during the process where they put me in a induced coma because every time I would wake up or move, I would quit breathing. They have to resuscitate me.
Yep.
Had the experience with my cat tripping me, not letting me go into the tunnel, blah, blah, blah. My dad used to drive from Ocean Isle Beach to Duke Medical Center every day. This 70-year-old man, congested heart failure, gout, diabetes. I was his baby girl. And he would go down every day, and the doctors went in there and they told him, they said, Mr. James, they said, we gave your daughter enough medicine to knock an elephant out for a month. Go home, get some rest. They assured him I would not wake up. Well, it was gone an hour and I woke up. Let me tell you my journey to what happened to me in the last moments. In my mind, I loved my job so much. It was the only thing in my life I was good at. I was married to my job, and it was a field I was well respected in. And you go back into the civilian world, you don't fit into it, But it's what I knew, and it's what I could do. I was treated people very well, but I also was a little crazy too, just enough crazy to where people like, I don't want to deal with her, and they would just get put herself in the car, But I was really good at my job. Some people are lucky enough to go do what they were born into the world to do. And I was like Queen Victoria. I was married to my job. And when I lost my career, I grieved it for 8 years, like most people would grieve a death. And so in my mind, when I was sitting there fighting for my life between life and death, I was getting up and I was going to work every day. When my lungs were filling with fluid and I was drowning, I was in a rescue boat rescuing victims. Everything that my body was going through in my mind, I related to being a cop because it's everything I knew. At the very end of it, I woke up and I was in a basement. I was still between that life and death. I was in the basement. One thing that scared me more than anything in the world were snakes. I was in a cold, damp basement. And when you go on a search warrant, you leave with everybody you come in. Don't clear scene. Everybody's. I could hear the SRT, Special Response Team, outside the basement. They were like, Barch, Barch, where's Barch? Because that was my old married name. Barch, Barch, where's Barch? And I wanted to speak, but I couldn't speak because
Mm-hmm.
there were snakes falling off the rafters. And you could feel them fall, bump, 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 bump. I could just feel them on me. And they were just slithering and just falling off the. I was in like a cellar. Do you remember the old houses where the cellars had doors and you would
Mm-hmm.
walk down? And these snakes were coming off these rafters and they were falling all over me. And I was so scared, so scared.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time, the door to the cellar opened and this really golden light come down.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see the stairs lit up, and this light was like a warm, like just a glow, like the sun was coming down. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember in my mind, I said, if you can get to those stairs, you'll be safe. Get to those stairs, you'll be safe. But I couldn't move because the snakes were falling off the rafters on me. Basically meant I was going to go to hell. Right? And I heard a voice behind me, and it was loving and like a father, but with authority. And it said, have faith and believe, and you shall not be harmed. It's talking about moving through the snakes and going up to the stairs. I didn't move. I heard it again. It said, have faith and believe, and you shall not be harmed. And it was more authoritative that way, kind of like your dad saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up and I started walking toward the light. And that's the moment I come out of my coma. The
Yeah.
moment I woke up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
people say, well,
Beautiful.
you must. It was, but people say you must be really special because God kept you on the earth. You were meant to do special things, but no, no. I tell people, and this is important. I can't believe I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling it. This is important. God's the greatest fisherman of all, whether you believe in him or not. I do, so it applied in my life. He's the greatest fisherman. He will throw the little fish back in the pond of life. And he threw me right back in that pond and he said, you grow because you're not big enough for me to keep you now.
Beautiful
Yeah,
analogy.
he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So I weren't special enough to stay with them. You know, you grow a little bit more next time you can come home. So that was my experience. So my question to you, with all your interviews with the cat running under my feet and seeing the light and the snakes coming down, and I think the snakes represented my anger because I've been angry for so long. I thought anger was a normal emotion, but do you get stories similar to that? Because I almost shared this story. I wanted to go to churches and witness about it, and I'm a Christian, but it was the Christian, the very people that say God is good and the mercy of Christ tells me it was your imagination. So
Mm-hmm.
I did not witness it to people. But is that anything similar to what you have?
Yeah, absolutely. You are special. You're so special that he put you back here to finish what you needed to finish. You weren't ready yet. That's okay. But
Grow.
you're still special. We all are. Every single human on this earth is special, and we're all loved. Obviously, you felt that love. You got the opportunity that many people don't get, and that's to have a near death experience where you're able to see the Lord's love, God's love toward you and humanity. And you were dealing with some fear issues and anger issues. It's all in the same fear, anger, and
A red
and he
orb.
was and he was seeing you through it. So the question I have for you is, did did you drop and shed that anger after that NDE?
I have never had anger at that level. That anger came from what I have saw people do to people in the name of love, and from 17 years of showing up at the worst moments in someone's life and seeing what they do to people. That I mean, it's hard to explain. Seeing
Yeah. So
children die.
you're
See,
your anger stems from what you have seen, and experienced.
Self-preservation, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I fall short of glory every day. I look at my
we all
life
do.
now and I think, wow, I was a waste of more people that lived could have done more than me because like every day, yes, religion, where this goes to the near death experience, Jeremiah. People
Mhm.
can do more with their life and more better than me. But I
I
think
don't agree. I disagree. I disagree, Victoria, because you are you, and there's no one else like you in the world. And you're here for a reason. And look at what you're doing. Look how you're giving back to the world. Is it small? Maybe. Is it large? Could be. But it doesn't matter. You're still out there. You're still putting yourself out there, and you're still spreading the good word. And
I'm
that's
a great
important.
cat mom. I'm a great cat mom. But with the near death experiences, do you get people that recount things similar to that, or is it different per
Yeah.
person?
Every person is different, but they all have experiences where they're dealing with love, anger, fear, rejection, self worth. They all deal with that. And I believe the God source, God, helps us with that. Those people that have NDEs often come back with many different abilities, stronger abilities than maybe what they had prior to leaving. They come back with some of their psychic abilities. I don't know if you've experienced that, but many of them do. And
Have
it's
strong,
all because
yeah.
you needed that. You needed that in your life to continue your growth. That's how I see it.
Yeah, God has a way of putting you on your back to make you look up and grow. Yeah, and but getting to that, one of the
Mm.
questions I had for you, do you think when a person passes, when you're talking about the orbs, when you're talking about the energy, when you're talking about all of these things, when you think a person passes, do they go into a different
Yes,
realms? Because they said we're
absolutely.
like,
It's all based on their spiritual growth, I believe. So they may go into a realm that they're able. It's not really a realm. It's more like I would say like dimensions or different rooms, if you will. You get to go to different based on where you're at with your vibration, your frequency, and how much you've learned while you were here, your lessons that you've needed to learn while you were here. It's all based on that because you're certainly not going to go to a place that you couldn't even fathom. You want to be able to relate with
mhm.
what you where you're at that time. And so you go to that place that you can relate to at that time of your transition, I'll call it.
Do you
So,
think that
yes,
people
there's
that have had abductions, people that have had strange the chips and things put in them, do you think they have a hard time with their faith?
some of them do, absolutely. And some of them just embrace the faith even more. They believe even more. So it just depends on the individual and their experiences and how they can relate to it. Because let's just let's just call it how it is. That's a huge experience. If someone's experiencing another being and or having implants done, that's that's a lot on your psyche. That's a lot to handle. So it just depends on how they handle it, how they're able to cope with it. But yes.
Oh, that's incredible. Do you guys, Jeremiah's just like responding the whole way. Jeremiah or anyone else, do you guys have any questions? While we're waiting on that, when you go to the orbs and them being the frequency and energy, and I mean, it all just kind of goes together. But sometimes you
We're
just
all
don't put
it's all connected. Everything's
the
connected,
ley
Victoria. We
line.
are all connected. Every
Ah,
any
Donna is
any phenomenon is connected. We all are.
Donna, Donna, Donna. I love Donna. Donna's my friend. She's the one that seen the reddish orange object
Orangish.
flying through us. Donna, you missed that. Donna, can you type in the description and what happened? Because we talked about this earlier, but just if you can, Donna, type that in so we can address the Donna saw 2 UFOs in the 70s when she was on the airplane. She's going to come on the show, and I think it would be a gift to her if you would be on the show with her.
Oh, I'd
But
love to be with her. Absolutely.
she is just now, when she goes to Uwari or the South Mountain, she's looking for UFOs. We're out there looking for the Squatches. Donna's looking for the UFOs. And she's
This is good.
amazing. But she was the one that saw the object in North Carolina. And I'm hoping that she's typing that in. But getting back to what we said, everything seems to kind of come together. I mean, but it's individual perception of how it
Hmm.
affects you and how you put it together. But when you
Yeah,
get, go ahead.
I was going to say that every person has their own perspective of their life and what they see and how they see it. It's all based on, it, for a lack of a better word, their programming. And so their faith, what they believe in. What you believe in is how you will perceive things. And there's nothing wrong with that. Each of us perceive things differently. But all I'm trying to say is with my orb book and here and now is that as we open our minds and we open our hearts, it will allow you to perceive things in a different way. It opens you up to what is possible. I shouldn't say what is possible, what is there, what is right there. But because of our programming and our own beliefs, that dampens what we actually see or perceive.
You get contaminated by the real world. You get contaminated by everything that goes out in the world.
Well, it's all, if people are all materialistic, and this is the material world, 3D world in which we live in, some people get stuck in that, right? I don't want to be one of those. I want to be open to see what else is in this world that I can interact with and help share and benefit, and vice versa. How can I learn from you? How can I teach you? We can all, every being, every animal, every Sasquatch, everything we can all learn from. And that is the embrace. That is the, as long as you remember we are all connected and you open your
Yeah.
mind to that, when you're ready, not everyone's ready. When you're ready, it'll be there for you.
Jeremiah. Jeremiah needs a t-shirt. I need to send Jeremiah a t-shirt for great questions. Penny. So you're probably into
Yeah.
CE5. I have no idea what CE5 is.
Okay, it's Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which means you are calling in contact. You are setting out. A lot of people do this, Victoria, with large groups, 10, 20 people come over to your backyard and you set an intention. Do you understand? Like intention, like you put out what you want to see. You intend on having
Manifestation.
contact. Yeah. You as a group all meditate or come together and meditate on the intention of having contact with another being, with a craft. Because crafts, let me blow your mind a little bit more, because crafts are organic, which means they are conscious, which means they're alive.
Wow.
Yes. So when you reach out to a craft, they respond. That's why these CE5 groups, yes, Stephen Greer, that's correct, Jeremiah. Stephen Greer coined the phrase CE5, and now people are having these CE5 events in their own backyards or in other places too, when they go camping or wherever. But absolutely, they're trying to make contact.
Before we go into Donna's question,
I'm going to take
hey,
a timeout just for a bathroom break, and I'll be right back.
that's fine. If you guys have it, hello, Bobby. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in before Penny comes out. Penny has given us like 2 hours of her time really, really, guys, Penny's book, Orbs, The Energy of Life. You can find it on Amazon. She has been really awesome tonight. We have gone from orbs to UFOs to her time. She's still active with MUFON, talk Sasquatch and everything else. She is such a great person. Um, so we're fixing to ask her some questions about Donna's experience. Sean Ryan is the man. I like you, Jeremiah. Um, I wonder why ETs are interested in that. I think, Linda, they would look at us for entertainment because we are so mean to each other and we do stupid stuff. Um, that I was just she says we'll get to that in a minute. Um, that goes back to the dream boards. Like when you're my husband always says if you visualize it and you put the energy in it, you can make it. I mean, that's not you got to put effort in it. It's not just going to manifest, but you're literally putting that energy in your life to have something come into your life. And I guess that goes back to energy too. But I'm like, honey, I keep
Mm-hmm.
thinking, I keep thinking that I'm
That's
30
right.
pounds lighter, and it don't work for me. I'm still a chunky monkey. But that is like the dream board they tell you to make in high school. You're manifesting what you want.
That's right.
Energy. See,
That's right.
I'm getting there, Jeremiah. I'm getting there. Laws of attraction. So Donna said, December 31st, 2023, approximately 20:30 hours, New Year's Eve, we were going outside to build a campfire, and three orange orbs flying slowly directly overhead.
Mm-hmm.
You said, Donna,
Mm-hmm.
if you buy the book, Orbs, The Energy of Life, in the back, I know I keep pushing your book because I can't put it on the screen because I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. Um, Orange can be a spirit to comfort you, or it can be, if it's orangish red, it can be anger or passion, or it can be protection or forgiveness. I'll let you, okay, I just stole your thunder. I'll let you explain that to Donna. She's been waiting all day to come and talk.
So, Donna, I think that what you saw was actually an orb, which could have been, I'd like to know how high above you it was, but it could have been a craft. It could have been three different crafts. It could have been an orb that intentionally wanted you to see it and others to see it. It could have been a being inside of that orb that was communicating with you. But yes, the colors do have meaning, right? Colors are frequency, colors are energy. So absolutely it has meaning.
Jeremiah says, I like orange and blue, War Eagle. All right,
LOL.
Jeremiah. LOL. Orange is actually my favorite color. Gilbert orange. I love it. So I'm going getting back to energy and how all things are tied together. I mean, the dream boards is
Hmm.
you're being
That's right.
told to do exactly what we've talked about tonight. Literally, make a
It's your
dream board.
intention. It, absolutely. It's all about your intention. And that's what they taught you in school, which is that just delights me that they took the time to teach you that. But when you do a dream board, you're actually putting your intention that you want this to happen in your life. And then as you work towards it, you start to see all of that start coming through for you because you have taken the time to invest in it and put your intention and hard work behind it so it manifests itself into your life. That's how it works. That's how it
Oh,
works with the CE5. You are taking the time to set the intention to have a relationship, make contact with a craft, a being. And it's the same principle, Victoria, that you did with your dream board that you're putting out to the universe. I want to have contact. The thing is, everybody in that group has to be of like mind. If anyone is in fear and doesn't want it, and doesn't show their true intention, it's not going to happen, right?
I was going to say that. So basically, you go meditate for what you want, but everybody has to be on the
Right.
same board. Donna, how close were the orbs overhead? Can you just, I know sometimes when it's up in the sky, it's hard to measure. She was asking that. And
Yeah.
she said, Donna says, thank you, Miss V. She goes, thank you. Miss V has a pic. I'll send it to you. Well, she said, would like to get the book on the orbs. Donna, Orbs, The Energy of Life, is the link to it is in the description.
It's on Kindle too, Victoria. So all of your audience, it's $7.99 for Kindle if people are into that.
Okay. I just went the whole show. I didn't even know that. Bad Vicky. Bad Vicky.
Okay, it's
She
okay.
said it was directly over her house. So that's pretty close.
Okay, yeah, it's very close. So yeah, it could be craft, it could be beings, but my gut is telling me that there was a craft of some type. She said there was 3 of them, right?
Three, let's see.
What's the size?
Uh,
Like, how big were they?
We were outside New York. We were going, and 3 orange orbs. From the picture, yeah, I mean they're prominent in the picture, but that doesn't give me a really good reference to the size. See if she says about how big. If they're directly over your house, would they be the size of a volleyball, basketball, a Pontiac? I don't know.
Yes. Crafts come in all sizes too, Victoria. You're not, crafts are not just, the typical shape of a craft or it's saucer type. There's all different types of craft, and uh, circular could be or orb shaped could be a craft.
She said 2 in the front and 1 in the back.
Yeah.
Jeremiah says, Jeremiah, you're definitely going to get a t-shirt one day. Jeremiah says, every time I hear Penny say Victoria, I think Victorious. Ah, Jeremiah, you're awesome. Do you see an uptick in sightings?
Yeah, we see an uptick in sightings when the Starlinks started going. Elon Musk's sending out the Starlink, and we saw an uptick during, you remember on the 8th of this month where the Aurora Borealis was flying in almost every state. That was an uptick.
We couldn't
There was
see
an
it from the
uptick for
house.
that.
We couldn't see it from the house, and I've always wanted to see that. Always wanted
We
to see
did. I'll
it.
send you pictures if you want, but we did. I
Please.
felt blessed to be able to see it.
I would love, love just to, yeah, please send me pictures. And if any of y'all out there has pictures of I can't say Aurora, the Northern Lights,
Aurora
just send me
Borealis, yeah. Northern Lights.
Aurora. Just send me pictures if you got my number. I mean, tag me on Facebook. I love them. Does anyone have any more questions? I mean, the MUFON, I never thought it would like set me on fire like it has. That I just uh that's a good question, Jeremiah. I'm gonna have to put him on the payroll. I'm broke, so it would be broke too, Jeremiah. Says Penny, is Elon one of us or them? He does have a funny haircut.
Well, I will share this with you. This is my own opinion there, Jeremy, but us and them are us. We're all one. But I do believe that he is what we call hybrid. I do think that. Yeah. But we're all connected. We're all one. They're part of us too.
So let me ask you something. For the people that sees the strange creatures, like I'm gonna just tell you straight up. I saw they call it dog man. I hate the word dog, but I seen one. Believe it or not,
Okay.
I don't care. I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying it to the people that don't believe. Are those tied in with orbs energy? Are they from a different dimension? And because one of my friends, he also does a very well-known podcast. He always wondered what he saw. Was it like a hellhound or was it an actual dog man. But what he's seen, I showed him a picture of mine, is almost identical, just a few more different tweaks than mine.
Hmm.
Are
I think that
they?
dogmen are they are, I would, I call them like guardians. Like they look censures, people that look out. They're the people that look out for the for others, and they're very good at their job. Right? They're scary. They they really put the fear into you. Um, but not all of them are like that. Just like us, right? There's some of us that are pretty scary people, right? Do some pretty evil things, and but we all have the light in us. I never forget about that. We all have the light in us. We choose how we're going to act and how we're going to behave here. And so it's the same thing with the dog man. You know, they're here too. Are they? Are there some that are bad or terrorize? Sure. Same thing with Sasquatch. Same thing with us. I mean, some are good, some are some aren't. Would they scare the heck out of you? Sure. But once we get used to, you know, maybe them, maybe we can form some kind of relationship. But it seems to me they don't want any kind of relationship with us at this point.
Well, I mean, what I saw could easily turn around and turn on me, but it didn't. Donna says, I wish I
Hmm.
could share a picture of what she saw. Donna, if you will go to the description, her email is there, and you can link,
Send it. Yeah.
send your pictures through there. If not, I could probably forward them to her on Facebook, but I imagine that you would want to talk or email her directly and just get a response from her, if that's okay. Um, Jeremiah says, I
Yeah,
believe
that's
I heard
fine. That's fine.
Jeremiah says, I believe I heard it said that Native Americans, First Nation people say not to follow orbs.
Okay.
I guess it's different energy. It goes back to the energy, correct?
Yeah, maybe it's a certain type of orb. I don't know, but I know the orbs in which I photograph and are able to view on my photos are wonderful. I get very good feelings about them. So I've never felt uneasy around them. I always have a positive outlook about them.
Well, that would go back to energy too, right?
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
So we have been going on about 2 hours and 22 minutes, and I feel like you got to come back on. The I love the book on the orbs. Um,
Thank you. I'm glad you love it.
the orbs just keep popping up with people, and
Hmm.
when you have people
Yep.
that Jeremiah says, I think it's according to their folklore, correct.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
I think that when you have people from all over the world and they're experiencing something, people that don't know each other, it's just like Sasquatch or Bigfoot,
Hmm.
whatever you call it. They don't know each other. Their stories just are so similar. Their experiences are
Hmm.
similar. You have people seeing crafts. You have people having experiences.
Yeah.
Well, the ley lines, it all just seems to go together in one way or another. And your research, even if you don't believe anyone of it, your research may be basic flesh and blood. I get that, but there's so much more things that you can't explain that we verbally don't want to talk about it because how can this happen with this, and this, but this still be flesh and blood? Because I think Bigfoot's flesh and blood. Maybe it's flesh and blood when it's on the planet. I don't know. But there's stuff going on. And the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, the more you throw your hands up and you're just like, it's not what it appears to be.
Yeah. It is what it is. We are all connected, and we are all learning about each other too, which is very beautiful. If you see, there's more and more people like yourself that are putting podcasts together to try and figure out what is this phenomenon of Sasquatch, orbs, UFOs, all the other phenomena. We're all trying to figure it out collectively and together. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's important to keep talking about it. 20 years ago, you and I would both be in a some funny farm or something because we wouldn't be allowed to talk about it. But look at where we're at right now. We're having
Well,
conversations about it. That's
20
growth.
years ago, I was so angry I wouldn't open my mind up to it, but that's neither here or there. Um, I do my podcast because everyone has a story. And I've got one of the best chats in the world, and I'm grateful for it. And I want to thank everyone that jumped in tonight and joined. At the end of every show, I always give someone a moment to pay tribute. Would you like to pay tribute to someone?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
The first name that the first name that came to mind was Tom Cantrell, because the truth of the matter is this book wouldn't be right here in my hands right now if it wasn't for him helping me put this book together, edit it, and he also wrote the foreword for it. So I'm very grateful for Tom. I love you. I think you're an amazing man and maybe a little misunderstood sometimes, but I love you, and I think you're just a gem. So thank you very much, Tom. And Victoria, thank you very much for giving me this moment to let Tom know how much I appreciate him. Thank you.
well, I hope to see you back again so we could talk some more on the MUFON and the Orbs. And once again, guys, Orbs, the Energy of Life is on Amazon, also on Kindle. And I think you're fascinating. I do want that connection in North Carolina because I would love to do MUFON. And
You got it. You got it.
think you have think you have to be a little bit crazy to do it, and that's so perfect for me, ma'am.
We're together on that.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night, Penny, and I hope to have you back on soon.
Absolutely. You
All
got it.
right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you allowing me come on to your platform. Thank you.
You have a good night.
Good night.